script builders. A Roblox game type that allows users to run code inside of the game. These games are mostly known for their wacky and awesome scripts anyone can run. What you're looking at right now is ran through one script. The animations, the power, just through a script. These got a lot of attention for how impressive and fun these scripts can be, considering you can use this anywhere. If you have the permission to anyway, you could do so much on these experiences, especially if you know a lot about Lua. Script builders have been a thing since around 2009 or 2008, when Roblox was starting to grow more and more. And over the years, more of these games started to pop up. The most common way to run code in these games is by typing in a specific command, and pasting in a raw paste side link with Roblox Lua code in it, and that's it. Now to be specific, which is important, you can run scripts through the server or your client, but back then, most Roblox games didn't have filtering enabled or Roblox not having a proper client-server replicator, which is why players can see what you're running. That's why exploiting used to be a big issue after all. But now, let's talk about one of the undoubtedly most biggest script builders. In January 2010, Voiliax Script Builder was born, also known as Voidacity's Script Builder. A game that used to be owned by a fellow named Voiliax.
No shit.
But now currently owned by Tuskay or 661 and formerly Gavin Sharp 1, whoever the heck they were. The game was later moved to a group. Since client-sided loadstring was disabled, this was the main script builder to play. And they would later make a second place for running module scripts. Since 2017, Void's Script Builder had over 100 players daily for Place 2, and over 50 players daily on Place 1. So Voidacity's Script Builder was really building the community up, with the best scripters cooking different types of things to show off in GUM, and there were even YouTubers showcasing the scripts in the Script Builder. One of these YouTubers, for example, are called Vengeful Program. Actually, let's not talk about him. There was even a genre of script fighting games. It's pretty self-explanatory. Since these scripts got so much attention, I will now talk about what I think are the most popular scripts during that time. This is Glitcher, Star Glitcher, a powerful script that gives you these wings and powerful abilities. You can also switch modes or personalities for different moves, wing colors, and animations. And each one has a cool beat to it. This was one of the biggest scripts known in the community at the time. There were even games based on it. Some of these glitchers can be really powerful and destructive, and edits modifications were being made off each other to have different things. To this day, they are still relevant. I think next up are banishers. Basically, these are guns that erases the existence of a player's character. These were more popular in 2019/2020. I know I'm time skipping, just bear with me. At this point, these are probably the most edited scripts in the community because of the absurd amount of variants you can find despite their simplicity. Usually these just prevent a user to respawn after being shot. Sometimes they can kick or actually ban people from the server. Despite popularity, these scripts are also hated, mostly because it's extremely abusive, and sometimes they can be extremely cringy. There's also a thing called kick-isher. I guess they are just banishers, but they only kick people out of the game.
No shit.
But do you wanna know the next most popular script genre?
Hey kid, do you want a wiener in your mouth?
Not that surprising that there is a lot of these, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but there are a lot of undertale scripts that are worth mentioning. This is a Chara script made by Nebula Zorua. Yes, the same guy that made his own Star Glitcher that bangs does Friday Night Funkin' stuff. This is a simple script. Slice, steal souls, and it also has a death prevention system, which is pretty cool. There's also this Chara by Kudatsuki 13, and despite looking like a Roblox asset from 2012, it has cool animation, and it has a gun. There is also this Last Breath Sans script, which I assume was made later, so in time skipping again, sorry about that. This is worth mentioning though because this is a really good script. If someone tries to hurt you, Sans would always dodge it, most of the time anyway. Of course, it has gaster blasters, and a pile of bones to use to attack the players. But it also has these sequences when pressing specific keys, making it more of an actual battle. I think you get the idea. As I said, there are great scripters that make these sort of things, not just for exploiting but for use in script builders. However, I think most people would rather want these scripts to themselves, and not release them to the public, even though a lot of people manage to find them. Some people would even call scripts that weren't leaked rare scripts, and literally trade them for different scripts. Even though from my experience a long time ago we kept the scripts that were traded off. But anyways, these scripts gave the community more recognition. Most people would play these games to use Baldi or Thomas the Tank, or make their own scripts to show off in GOM, as I said. But that's the problem, anybody could do anything. Anything that anybody would want. Even in Void's script builder, with how strict the moderation was, they wouldn't be fast enough to save people from being exposed to Lego dongs. This was before Roblox had a age rating system and alt banning system for game moderation. Multiple times Void's script builder would have been banned off the platform because of the filthy people abusing the power of script builders. But that wasn't just the thing that almost killed these games. Remember what I said about this? Now to be specific, which is important, you can run scripts through the server or your client, but back then, most Roblox games didn't have filtering enabled or Roblox not having a proper client-server replicator, which is why players can see what you're running. Well, on July 25, 2018, Roblox announced that the filtering enabled disabled option, also called experimental mode, would be removed and forced games to have filtering on. So why can this be a problem for script builders? Well, since most of these scripts are ran locally, after this change, you can only see yourself using the script. This change broke a lot of Roblox games, but it also made script builders boring to play because you would also rather want people to see what you're seeing on your client. Fortunately, they found ways to make the scripts server-sided, so they can be seen by anyone again. Nonetheless, script builders were still dying, the hype is already fading away, and the community shrunk. There are still scripters coming in, but the community is mostly filled with this crap. Anyways, at this point, especially in 2019, most scripts being made nowadays, at least the ones for script builders specifically, are now modules, which are easier to use if you want to run them anytime in your game. Since these are easier to understand for execution, Require Executor games started appearing. These games are basically watered-down script builders. Why did I even compare them to script builders? They are completely different things. But anyways, you could probably understand what to do in these executor games. Paste in a Require script. Bam! Of course, most Require Executor games or even newer script builders in general don't have proper moderation. And the lewd kind of scripts are slowly getting worse and worse.
There's so much porn!
Over time, more people just stopped being involved in the community out of uninterest, or just fed up with the toxicness. Require games are no longer played, if they were ever played with anyway, and other unique script builders are most likely closed, and Void's script builder itself is no longer open. More than thousands of players, and thousands of scripters, left. And all they have left behind was their talent. When I first saw these scripts and stuff, each one of them amazed me. They were the reason why I was introduced to script builders in the first place. Not only that, it made me learn about Roblox Lua code, only just from editing scripts and seeing how they work. And I still think these are works of art. This may seem like I'm exaggerating, it might be just nostalgia, but I think these should have gotten more recognition, and I'm talking about the higher quality scripts. Well, I guess they somewhat did. As I mentioned, Star Glitcher is still very popular, but as for most scripts that existed, especially since Pastebin, the paste site that had most of the scripts stored, started taking down a lot of scripts from their website, making them more harder to find. Some of them can't even be found anymore, and most other paste sites would have probably died by now. But that's not all, since Roblox's policy changes, like if accessible require a script of any kind uses any of these assets, the model would get private. And if you can't already tell, a lot of modules have those, or sometimes they would use deprecated functions that won't work anymore unless if someone fixed them. Even from all that, script builders specifically are still alive, but they are on life support, with Roblox taking them down every time. A little sad, but it's probably for the best. I forgot to explain what a skit is.